Greetings, children of the screen, your friendly neighborhood nerd scum here once again, and I am joined by...
Hey, I'm Vic.
And we today took a binge look at the final season of VOLTRON Legendary Defenders, a show that I'm not that familiar with, but Vic is extremely fucking familiar with it. So we thought we would talk to you guys a little bit about what we thought from two different perspectives. So, seeing as you are the expert, Vic, in general, what did you think of this final season?
Honestly, okay, I went
By the way, there will be massive spoilers, so... Massive spoilers, so...
Spilling all the tea.
Get the fuck out if you
all the
don't
salt
want
is being dumped in the tea.
Yeah.
And then I'm shoving it down people's throats.
Indeed. Alright, so general
But
thoughts.
anyways, so yeah, I went into this with zero expectations. I do this with every season because I don't want to get disappointed. But it was actually a really well-constructed season, in my opinion. It really worked. I was being surprised left and right, which was new, because typically I'm able to identify what's going to go on early in a season of Voltron and be like, oh, this is going to happen, but no, not at all.
That's fair. We actually kind of mentioned that in our little preview video where we did halfway through, where, like,
Yeah.
both of us were both in kind of a position of, like, as we were watching it from both our different perspectives, we kept thinking we were knowing where things were going, and then it would be like, oh, no, yeah, that's not what we're doing.
It's like,
We're doing
oh, you
something
see this
different.
cliche? No.
No, not at all.
Blocked.
Yeah. So that was cool, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And in general, I kind of agree. Like, the season was really well paced, although, I mean, like, it moves really fast. Honestly, especially when you're binge watching it, like, one after another, like, it goes really fast. But, in general, the season was really well paced. There were really good character arcs, and as someone who knows little to nothing about the show, I actually enjoyed it quite a bit. Yeah, I did.
So much happened.
Since you are the resident expert and you have more frame of reference, why don't you give us a little rundown of what happens in the season? Again, guys, this is your last chance. There will be spoilers here. Dip out if you want. Vic, what the fuck happened in the final season of Voltron?
So basically, we open with our group that we have here on Earth. Allurance becomes canon. A lot of you are going to be very pissed about that, I'm sure. I was pissed, not to the extent of most Clant shippers, but still pissed, but it's okay. It pays off in the end. Basically,
Okay.
They have found a way to go back up into space. You know, they got the Lions up and running again. They're gonna go do their thing, save the universe, all that hoopla. But we come to find that Hagar has found a way to get to different dimensions and alternate universes and all that shit. And her past self, before she went evil and turned into Hagar, has decided that she wants to find a way back into a reality where she can be with Zarkon and little baby Lotor, who we finally get to see, and he's just a precious little non-murderous. I love him. He's my son.
He's not. He's her son. But
He's mine. I've adopted
he's
him.
hers.
He
What she's-
deserves better.
What she's saying is it gets a little wibbly-wobbly,
Yes,
timey-wimey.
really wobbly, timey-wimey.
Indeed.
In doing so, she's ripping apart time and space. Not good. All the universes, you know, they're just being eliminated. So not good. Basically, our team has to stop her so that they don't completely annihilate the entire universe and all of the different strings. They keep playing on a Lawrence, which is fine. At that point, I just accepted it. It was gonna happen. It's fine. It's fine. You get to see a dog that I think the whole ship owns. It's not really, they don't really tell you who owns the dog. It's just there. Its name is Bebe. She's really cute.
It's 9 in the morning, and we just powered through this since, like,
Yeah,
about
I'm
2
so tired.
a.m. So,
I'm
yeah.
trying to explain. They also had the fun episode of the season, you know, the one that they always throw in there. Like last season, we had Monsters and Mana, where we got to see Lance with his cat ears and the tail.
Yeah.
Great episode. This time they go to a carnival, and Alora doesn't attend because she has this virus thing in her head. It's some kind of, like, dark energy that she pulled out of some other dude. They're at the carnival, and they're all trying to win different prizes for Alora because she can't go because she's feeling sick. And they all try to, like, kind of outdo each other with the gifts they have. It's a very fun episode.
Yeah, one of them gets her, like, a gold jewel-encrusted hard hat.
Pidge. That would be
It's
Pidge.
awesome. Sorry, continue.
It's fun.
They all get her gifts.
Doing such a terrible job explaining. It's because my mind is frazzled right now. I'm trying to put everything in order. We eventually come to find out that the dark energy matter, whatever is in Alora, it's still dark energy matter, but it's also connected to the souls of the original paladins of Voltron. Sounds crazy. But it's Voltron, it's last season, whatever works. So they're in this other like alternate dimension place. We later find out is Unnerva's mind. They're inside Unnerva's mind. It gets crazy. It's worse. So they're in her mind, and they find out that all the Alteans and everybody who we eventually presumed to be dead aren't actually dead. She just sucked out their quintessence, stuffed it in her mind, and they're just living on in her memories. And the paladins find this out, and so all the original paladins are back, kind of, and they help guide our new paladin team to help try and stop Unnerva. Doesn't quite go according to plan. They don't really end up in the end game. They just kind of stopped after an episode. Like, they were there, and then they're just like, oh, they live on in our spirits and in the lions. The ending. The ending is a lot to talk about. Pretty much what happens is, with all the rips in time and space, they have a big robot battle with Unnerva. And then they convince her, well, Allura convinces her by using these mind powers that she now has, where she can, like, grab somebody's mind like this and just be like, memories. And so she remembered all, like, the good memories that she had of, like, back when she was, like, a normal Altean, and she actually gave a shit about other people other than just herself and her family, and it turns her good, and she's like, okay, well, we can't fix it now. I've kind of destroyed everything except, like, this one plane of existence that they're in right now. And Allura tells her, there is one way, but in order for them to be able to save all the multiverses, all of them, Allura has to die. Allura has to fucking die. Nobody enjoys this. Everybody cries. Shiro cries. Tears. They weren't streaming down his face, but they were there. Anyways, so Allura dies.
And I said from the first episode they were going to kill her.
You did.
I said it. I called it. I was like, oh, they're going to kill her.
You did.
Yeah.
They started with her coming to life, and then they ended with her death.
Yeah. So anyways, this crushes Lance, and then we get a lovely time skip to a year in the future. And again, like, I'm sorry to interject, but again, like, yeah, they do that, and then they do this whole, like, big thing where, like, the two of her and the other lady, like, combine and explode into light, and it, like, restores all the different fabrics of all the different multiverses.
Everything's restored. It's all good and dandy again.
But yes, and then we cut to a year later.
And so we find out that there is no use for Voltron anymore. Peace has been restored throughout everything. Unnerva has been defeated. They all have normal lives. They're all happy. Like, Lance owns a farm. Shiro gets married to this dude, and he's happy, and it shows, like, the marriage and everything, and it was beautiful. Keith turned the Blade of Mamara into, like, basically he goes around and, like, he helps people in need. It's so beautiful. Hunk is a chef, and his main job is he gets a lot of people together for a meeting. He serves them food, and then that brings peace to everybody. They're like, oh, wow, this food's amazing. Let's be friends, and he's like beautiful.
A diplomat chef.
It's beautiful. It's so beautiful.
Okay, so what did you feel like worked best out of this season?
Oh, God.
Try to pick, like, maybe 3 things.
3 things that work best. I guess how they ended it overall.
Okay,
with the whole closure, like, her dying, everybody being happy.
Something for everybody.
Something for everybody. It worked. I guess that would be, like, what, like... Yeah.
The main thing. Well, because they also leave it really open. So, like, for people like yourself who were hoping for one ending, one relationship ending, there's nothing in this that says that doesn't happen. So, if that's something you want to keep in your headcanon, as a comic book fan, headcanon's really important.
I mostly just wanted them to be happy, which is what we got.
Yeah, and that's, like, we got a solid, satisfactory ending where, like, literally it'd be hard to ask for a happier ending while also losing one of your, like, main characters. So
honestly, yeah.
So yeah, that was done really well. I highly agree that, like, yeah. And again, me having very little, like, reference for the show, just knowing the characters for the little bit that we've known them in the season, even I really felt like there was a satisfying conclusion to the majority of them. So that's one. one more or a couple of more, you know.
I guess another would be I really liked how they worked out the battle sequences between all the robots and everything.
Yeah,
they
that
made
was
it really
cool.
cool. They filmed it to where you could see what's going on, but not to the point where it was just like, wow, this is really long.
Yeah, and there was a sense of escalation too, where like the scenes in the beginning of the season are cool with the robot fights, but then like it does you never get to a point in the season where you feel like you're watching the same fight over and over again, and you never get to a point where you are at a fight and you're like, well, yeah, they're fighting, but the last fight they had, what the stakes were way higher and it was way cooler and they went way
Yeah,
more out. Like they're
they
well
did
choreographed, well shot, and well worked into the plot.
really good, like building it up
Yes.
and kept building it up until it just like. Whoosh.
And so much of their action sequences are character based, like based on character decisions as opposed to just based on like what's cool to do.
Yeah, no, Voltron is very like innard.
Character driven, like yeah.
Innards, as I call them, because why not?
So yeah, that was really good. What else you got for us?
Oh god, one more thing. I also really loved how they managed to like show you all the character development that our beloved paladins have been through throughout all the seasons. Like all the teamwork and the leadership skills that Keith has, and how Lance is no longer just the funny, random playboy character. Now he's more serious. He knows what he wants in life. He has a sense of friendship and respect for other people, and just everybody has gone through so much, and they really show it here in season 8. And it's just beautiful.
But having said that, my favorite thing about the show, which kind of actually just plays against what I kind of, without seeing any of the rest of it, inferred from certain episodes, which is that like the season really, like we kind of mentioned it earlier, but the season is really unpredictable. Like the season keeps you guessing, the season keeps you moving, and like again, we have two different perspectives on it, and neither one of those perspectives saw where things were going. I mean, mind you, I did call that they were going to kill Home Chick, but pretty much that was almost the only thing that I called for the whole season.
Yeah.
So even though that's like a big thing, it's also kind of like the easiest thing to call out. So yeah, like overall though, like it kept moving, it was exciting, and like it never became like the cliche or the trope that I thought it might become in its final season while they were just trying to hit like all the big moments.
Yeah.
So it did that very, very well.
Yeah, no, they had a story to tell, and they told it.
Yeah.
Yeah, today we went out not with a whimper, but a bang. I know it's typically the other way around, but
It's gonna be okay.
yeah,
It's gonna be okay.
it's not. It's over.
It's gonna be okay.
It's over.
It's gonna be okay, I promise. Alright, so again, from both sides of it, we both really enjoyed the season, thought it worked really well, but with any show or movie or any piece of entertainment put out, there will always be things, whether it be inherent in the making of the product or just inherent in your own personal taste and preferences. They're going to be little things that just do. I'm going to go back. Yeah. There's going to be little things that just don't work for you. So, Vic, what in this final season of Voltron didn't work for you?
As a Clance shipper, you all know Lawrence crushed me a little bit. Honestly, I was really upset with Lawrence, and then I was really upset that they killed off Allura, but at the same time, I've come to realize that it's genius. It's genius, because the people who ship Lawrence, they get closure. It happens. But then she dies, so the people who ship Clance can be like, oh, okay, I guess that opens up possibility. So honestly, they found a way to make everybody at least content and satisfied. Even though she died. I'm still not over that she died. But it paid off in the end, and they worked it out beautifully, so I'm not that upset about it.
Yeah, it could still happen.
Yeah, something that I can actually bitch about is I'm really disappointed in the lack of Lotor. Not as somebody who really likes Lotor or anything, it's just they really built it up like he was gonna have a major arc, maybe a comeback and everything, but he really only showed up in Alora's mind-ish kind of thing, and we only got to see him one other time outside of her mind, which is when he was in his own robot thing, and then he merged with Minerva's robot, but we didn't actually get to see him in the robot, we just saw his robot. So we don't even know for sure if he actually came back to life or anything, or if he was from another universe. We didn't get a big story with Lotor like I thought.
Yeah. And we for like a few minutes, or at least for one episode, kind of thought there's this dude who shows up who looks exactly like Red X. He doesn't look exactly, but he looks enough like Red X from Teen Titans that that's how we were referring to him, and we both kind of instinctively thought that was going to be Lotor.
Yeah.
But it ended up being Home Chick's girlfriend.
I always forget her name. It's Ezra's girlfriend, you know, the furry.
Yeah, it ended up being her,
but
which
I
was
forget her
also
name.
really, really cool. But yeah, again, an example of the show seemingly setting up certain expectations and then like going a different way to keep you guessing.
Yeah.
So yeah, worked out really well.
I was so sure it was Lotor. I was 90% sure, and then it was like, nope.
And as for me, I've only got two kind of sort of complaints, and like both of them are kind of like, you know. But the first one is that, like I said, the show moves really fast, and they do a whole lot. And in fact, I would say that like really one of the only downfalls in this season is that they're doing so much that 24 minutes doesn't really seem like enough time to tell the story. So like when we were watching the story where the villain of the season is jumping from realities, it was a little hard to keep up with what was happening.
Yeah.
And there were a few other episodes where like as things were happening we kind of missed it, but then as the show went on we were able to infer what had happened from like what was going on then. I feel like upon first viewing that is kind of an issue when you're trying to do something as big as this final season. And the other thing was that Dr. Claw, what's Dr. Claw's name? The guy with the arm. The guy with the arm.
Dr. Claw. Are you talking about Zarkon?
The guy with the floaty metal arm?
Shiro.
Shiro. Yeah, Shiro.
Dr.
Claw. Because like they keep having him sitting at like tables and stuff, and like it's just like his shoulder and then like his forearm and his hand, and like he'll be sitting at a table, and I do think it was really interesting how they kept trying to like put things behind him in the frame that would like not draw attention to the fact there's an arm missing. Like they'd sit him in the chair in a way where there'd be like this much of the back of the chair like right here where like if you weren't really paying attention it'd look like an arm or something, but no, like just he's got this big metal gauntlet sitting on the table, and every time I would see him sitting in one of these chairs with it out there, I was just like, oh, he's got a cat in the other hand, I know it, and he's gonna be like, I'll get you next time, Voltron, but he's not the villain, so it doesn't make any sense. But then on top of the fact that like it just, first off, I'm sure they explained it in the show, in fact I think you told me they explained it in the show, but like from a person who's walking into it, which again I'm walking into like season freaking 9, so like that's on me, honestly, but not knowing anything about the technology, it's hard to buy it. When you look at it, it just something in your brain like registers that as something that's not right. And then, guys, there's like an episode where we do like a whole over the top.
The carnival episode.
Yeah, the carnival episode. They do like a whole over the top Sylvester Stallone arm wrestling storyline with this dude, and like he has an enemy who by the end of it comes to like honor and trust, not trust but honor, and like, you know, see him as like an ally or like an equal and stuff like that. Like it's and it's just like with this floaty arms that's just like, and like I kept thinking that like, oh well, clearly there's nothing attaching it, so at some point he'll like power it up and it'll shoot across a room and punch someone in the face, or like sneak around a corner for him and like tap someone on the shoulder, and when they turn around they're like, what the fuck?
I fucking wish that would have been
but
great.
Like, and again, he's a great character. I'm not talking shit about the character. I enjoyed him in the show. Like it was really cool. He had great development. He was great functionally. The rest of his character design is cool. Everything about him is cool. But his arm just like, your brain, it's like the uncanny valley thing where like your brain is just like, that's almost a person, and then you're like, oh, that's not nice of me to think. But it's just like the way the animation is set up and the look of it, it's so removed and separated from what we like know that it's just jarring. And I think we kept laughing at it all throughout the frickin' season.
I can't help it
because
it's derpy.
Yeah, it's derpy, and like they just keep putting it in like strange like situations or positions where like if you're looking at it wrong, other lines in the frame just make it look like there's a floating hand.
Like whenever he had his hands clasped like this, it's just funny because it looks like he's just holding a hand.
He's just holding a gauntlet like this, you know? And it's
fucking
just
lost it.
Oh man, and it's like a very serious, dramatic scene, and I'm just like, man, just have him put his hands on his lap or something. I don't know. I don't know, but yeah,
Oh,
again,
God.
like overall, I really did actually enjoy the season. So if I have to say like things that didn't work for me, I would say it was those two things that kind of pulled me out of some episodes or made it hard for me to really immerse myself. But again, if I had actually bothered to watch more than the original pilot episode and then this season, that might not have been such an issue. All right, Vic, it's over. That's it. That's all
It's over.
of Voltron. 8 seasons in the bag. So now, taking into account this new season with everything else, what are your thoughts on the series overall?
I think DreamWorks did an amazing job retelling the story of 80s Voltron as a lot of people knew it. Just taking it in and making it their own. They did great with all the characters. They gave them all their separate arcs. It all tied in beautifully into a really good story that I enjoyed, and I really hope I get to see more things like this in the future from them.
Right on. Yeah, again, I've seen very little of Voltron. The reason I didn't watch most of it is because the pilot didn't really work for me. But I've heard from a lot of even die-hard Voltron fans that like the first few episodes are a little slow getting going. That you kind of have to stick in there. And like if the rest of the series is anything like this series was or this season was, then like yeah, I would probably recommend it as well. At some point when I have time, I'll probably go back through and try to check it out again. So yeah, it was really cool, and I'm very glad that I stayed up all night watching this with you. So
I appreciate it.
yeah, you gonna be okay? You gonna make it? That's it. It's done. You gonna make it?
It's over.
Yeah, it is. It's gonna be okay though.
I'm not ready for it to be over.
Oh, it's okay, sweetie.
Why do I sound like a Rugrat again?
Oh no, you don't. No, it's fine. All right.
She fucking died.
Oh, she did die. That's. She was really hot too. Oh.
But Shiro got married, so it's okay.
Oh, okay, yeah. It's gonna be all right. All right, guys. I think it's time to get this fucking camera out of here. All right, go. Fuck off now. Fuck off. All right, come here, sweetie. Come here. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.